Hello everyone. Here we are again for the second podcast. Shanky, Jatish. We are here today to talk about Asia Cup. It is relevant because Asia Cup is ongoing, and we thought what best to talk about than bring out some opinions around Asia Cup.
Especially when there is a controversy going on.
Of course, especially when there's a controversy going on. That's what we bring to the people, to the table: controversy and opinions. So let's start with the discussion. And I keep on asking you this thing. I asked you this thing in the first podcast as well. The relevance, right? We talked about the relevance of Test cricket. Now, in this podcast, we are talking about relevance of Asia Cup. Do you think Asia Cup is relevant? Because think about the top tier teams, right? We talked about top tier teams in Test cricket. In this case, it would be India, Pakistan. Probably that's it. Maybe Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is in the declining phase of their cricket, and that's
I'll say Pakistan and Sri Lanka have been in the declining phase.
that is true.
In like all the three teams have been going through a change. Like when the experienced players are retiring and then new players are coming up. Sri Lanka for a while, to be very honest. Pakistan lately and India have been lately as well. But the way change has been handled by India, uh, Pakistan and Sri Lanka have not been able to handle that well. Maybe because India has the richest resources, a lot of resources, and
And
Pakistan, Sri Lanka does
that
not.
goes to the depth in the domestic, and that again goes to the fact what we discussed last time around, right? Test cricket, right? You revive Test cricket by making sure that you become elite. And how do you become elite is by becoming uh, paying more attention to your roots, right? And in your domestic circuit,
Yes.
and only when your domestic circuit is powerful, you would stay elite, right? That's very aptly said. India is being able to transition better than Pakistan and Sri Lanka because of the depth in their system. Do you think the domestic leagues play a little bit of role in that as well?
Absolutely. Like when it comes to strength and when it comes to performance at international level, you need to be very much prepared before coming to the international level. And India has a very strong domestic circuit, be it IPL, be it Vijay Hazare Trophy, be it Ranji Trophy, and nowadays like there are some small state T20 leagues as well. So India has like a depth of practice and like a breadth of talent as well. So it has got like everything, to be very honest. But on the other side, Pakistan and Sri Lanka haven't got that much of the
But not
domestic.
that we are aware of, right? Maybe there is domestic tournaments that are happening. There's certainly PSL for Pakistan and LPL for Sri Lanka that is ongoing, and again for Bangladesh as well, Bangladesh Premier League.
Mhm.
But of course, the standard of cricket
Exactly.
there is not and along with the international players, that plays a key role as well, because when you bring in these leagues international players, then your domestic
Absolutely.
upcoming cricketers are getting to learn firsthand from an established player.
100%. Yes, absolutely. Like if you say that if you play with people who are more talented or people who have been in the game for a long time, so that definitely brings in a bit of practice, and you can actually definitely what do we say, monetize on that. And in here, the monetization would definitely be on becoming better.
But that goes back to our first topic of concern here, right? The Asia Cup. So it is good for other Asian
Exactly.
countries, but is it good for, let's say, India, let's say Pakistan, let's say Sri Lanka, and maybe even Bangladesh? Is it good for them? And that's an interesting bit there. When Asia Cup started, it is just between these four teams.
Mhm.
Right now, we have incorporated a lot of other teams in there, and I agree it is good for their cricketing journey, right? If you saw recently, Ireland recently complains about they're very sad. The players, the international players, Paul Sterling is very sad about the fact that there is very limited games that they get to play in their summer season, which is a sad story, right? But the fact of the matter is, you can't. So the international teams like India and Australia and England, the big teams,
Mhm.
their schedule is already packed. Like, how do you add more content to their playing journey? And that's where one of the things that we were talking offline, and maybe we should talk about it now,
Mhm.
is comes into play in maybe B teams, right?
Yes.
The B teams should play a role
You
there.
actually picked my mind. I was actually going to say that we have multiple different teams for each format. India probably has that. India has got a very completely separate T20 team and ODI team. Like I don't think that there are there are only 2 or 3 players who have actually come in from the Test series, and they are into the T20 series, T20 Asia Cup. It's like completely new faces. So that's a second team of India, and I would not really call them a B team because
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
amazing team. They
yeah,
are
yeah.
really amazing people. So it's like the
But
breadth
they
of
can
talent is brought.
also create a B team to be able to play with, let's say, Ireland or UAE, or to help
Oh,
the
yes.
cricket globally, right?
And
And
absolutely, and this is where Asian Games come in. India and Pakistan sent the B team to there,
mm,
and eventually, obviously, the B team was so talented that India won the final. Actually, the final was actually, I think, final was not completed because of the rain. This is where the B teams, the second teams, will actually help the the new nations, or the emerging cricketing nations, to grow further.
but the problem stays, right? Is it relevant? Like, so personally, as a viewer, I'll talk about it as myself. Like, I did not watch Asian Games.
Mhm.
Even if I would have been tracking every single match, I probably still wouldn't watch Asian Games. So maybe that's where the broadcasting things comes into play, because if you see why Asian Cup is happening, is because they invested a lot of money, right? And uh, it was a $170 million deals that Sony got the rights for, right? The broadcasting rights, and it is going to go till, I don't know, 2031, right? So there's no change that is happening till 2031, just
Yes,
because
yes.
it sold the rights.
The biggest, the largest audience is definitely India. I'll probably say 90% or more than 90%, 85% or 90% would definitely be coming from India. Sony got like 130 million, spent that much money until 2031. But will it be of good use? Because Asia Cup is mainly surrounded around India and Pakistan, because they have been the top two countries and top two players, top two teams in this entire cup. And the other thing is, when if you look from the broadcaster's perspective, is it worth it? Is the hundred are those $130 million for the next 6 years? Are they going to are the is the broadcaster going to get something in return for that? That's going to be a big question for that, and they must be very much concerned, especially with Pakistan. We will probably get the news while we are recording it, whether they are going to continue playing the Asia Cup or not.
So that's a very good point, right? Because Asia Cup is, interestingly, Asian countries, right? They are all geographically placed so close together that there are always a chance that there is a conflict going on, right? There's no guarantee in the next 4 years it will there won't be a major country, major player walked out. And if India walked out, then there is nothing in the Asia Cup, nothing for Sony to capitalize on, right? If India send to Asia Cup a B team, right, in my mind it is still relevant, right? Would broadcasters be happy to be able to, so okay, take a step back. India has all Indian sporting nation and the broadcasting nation, it has always been driven by champion mentality. And that champion baton has been passed, right? In my mind, that is where Shubman Gill's selection to T20 comes in, because Virat Kohli passed the baton to Shubman Gill,
Yep.
right? Do we still think if the Sony would be happy if Gill, who is the next Virat Kohli, is not playing Asian Games? They paid so much money to capitalize on the champion figure. They would, when they are marketing, when they are promoting Asian Games, they are promoting with Shubman Gill's face. Would they be happy if Shubman Gill is not participating?
That's the biggest challenge that the broadcasters have. This brings us to the last of the first episode, where we discussed about economics in the cricket, and this is where it is a tough spot to be, tough place to be for the broadcasters, whether they want to, how do they actually handle it? Because technically, I personally feel that Asia Cup's popularity, especially in countries like India, is a bit diminishing, and the reason is because we don't have the big names now. There used to be Tendulkar first, Sehwag first, and then it was passed on to Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and MS Dhoni, and now it has been passed to Shubman Gill. So broadcasters rely a lot on these names, and when, as you pointed out, if India sends a B team, I don't think the broadcasters will be interested. Considering Sony would be very unhappy, but it's not in their hand.
Yep, couldn't agree more with you. For this particular podcast, I was thinking maybe we add a segment. You have obviously heard about what is happening with Pakistan trying to boycott with UAE. Uh, the interesting bit happened here, and again, I don't mean to offend anybody. But what I want to bring in this segment is how crucial is education of cricket can be when you are playing the game. Like, of course, when you are talking about sports, you don't put education too much in the context of it. But I have two examples. One is recent, one is in the past, that I want to bring, that how education plays absolutely crucial role in current situations. Like, one example is, the famous MCG match of Pakistan and India, where India won. Virat Kohli, that amazing shot of the century, right?
We
In
could, we
that
could
match,
have played that in the background.
yeah, in that yes, in that match, if you remember, India did something that was very educated of them. So Virat Kohli, uh, it was a no ball,
Yes.
it hit the stumps and they ran.
Yep.
Right, and everyone else did not know what was happening, but again Virat Kohli, being
Kept
such a
running.
stalwart of cricket, had probably did not actually educate himself individually on that, but because of the way he has been playing cricket, he was just educated enough to keep running. Right, and eventually those 3 runs on a no ball, on a free hit, counted a lot, and that's where education played a very big role. Same thing happened in this controversy. The second example here is about Pakistan complaining to ICC the removal of match
The
referee.
match referee.
Right, now here a very important. So match referee was just doing his job, and bringing more context here. Like, what happened? India walked out without shaking hands.
Yep.
According to the
Did
rules,
not shake hand in the toss
there,
toss time as well.
yeah, there is no rule in the cricket book that says that players should shake hands. Right, it is
It is a practice.
encouraged, it is strongly encouraged, but it is not a rule.
Exactly.
It's very important to understand the distinction.
And this is where we can bring in COVID duration matches as well. When due to COVID, people were not the players were not allowed to shake hands, but
Absolutely.
just do a fist bump.
Absolutely, and that's very important, because so again education plays an important role here. When PCB lodged a complaint for referee, for removal of referee was just doing his job to inform them that the other team is not going to shake
Absolutely.
hands with you.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong that the referee did here.
I think the reason PCB is doing it is because it has got into a very bad situation. To be very honest, at one, Pakistan's political situation has not been really great. It has got a bad name. Sorry, no offense to Pakistan, but even in cricket as well, they could have answered it on the field just by winning the match big. And over there, Pakistan would have given a befitting reply to Indians not shaking their hands. Okay, you don't shake our hands. Try to beat us in the cricket. But eventually, they have not been able to do that because their team has not been performing well. And this is where Pakistan is in a limbo. What should they do?
So I actually disagree with that point, because in my mind the team did the right thing. So team responded. So okay, cricket is a games of ups and downs, right? Let's say Pakistan had a bad day on
Yes,
that day,
absolutely.
and they can definitely beat India in the next game.
They
I
will,
don't think that,
definitely.
right? But team did the right thing, so they boycotted the press conference in response, and I think that was the apt reply, right? That is where I think education. So I don't know that it's very important to keep that education angle in the mind, because if you think about it, people who are on the ground, they gave the perfect reply by not showing up to the press conference, and that was to me the end of it. What went wrong was the uneducated part that they did by complaining to ICC removal of referee, because they did not read the rules.
Exactly, and that's where I think I leaned more into politics than education, because
Okay.
eventually that response of like complaining, that was a politically motivated one. The team did the right thing by moving by boycotting and doing boycotting the post match conference, just as well in their rights. But Pakistan eventually had to do something because it became a news. Even the Fox News, Fox Cricket, Al Jazeera, everybody is reporting it. The world media is reporting it, and I don't really watch Indian media because they are just a bunch of beep. but
Sure.
that's what they are playing the entire day. That this
Yep.
is what's happening in Pakistan, and eventually Pakistan did not have any option, and they had to do something, and the only thing they could do is politically, and that's where the lack of education comes in, as you mentioned. So,
And
it
again,
was
please don't mind the fact here, we are talking about cricketing education, no other education
Yes.
in this regard, because we are talking about cricket.
Yes.
Right, and the key word here is cricketing education, right? Because If you are looking, and the two examples I give is a perfect example of how you think sports is just a sport, but education plays such an important role in the sports of education of that sport. All the cricketers out there, don't stop learning about the games. Learn the rule books of the game as well.
Yes.
All right, that takes me to the last segment of the podcast, breaking the norm. Here it is. All right. Let me start this segment with asking you, taking you back to the thing we discussed. So, what should happen for Asia Cup? Right. We talked about the broadcasting rights. We talked about how it is tied very specifically with the economics of the situation. We
Everything
also
is economics.
everything is economics. You propose a solution that replace or merge or combine Asia Cup with Asian Games,
Yeah.
and that could solve the thing. I want to propose something else as a replacement as well. Asia Cup itself has no big relevance to cricketing nations like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, because even if you win the cup, what is it? Do you what are you achieving? You are achieving that you are the best team in Asia. How does that even matter in the context of bigger role?
I think as a response, I'll probably bring some context about the World Cup as well. Like if you see FIFA, if you see soccer, they start with I think roughly 32 teams competing for the World Cup, and they have a knockout format where the team who keeps winning just progresses to the final.
Hmm.
But in cricket, you say it's just been lately that they have actually have 16 or 20 teams. But over the past years, there have not been much of the teams who are actually competing for the cricketing world within the cricketing World Cup. There is a pre-World Cup tournament which actually decides a few teams, two or three teams at times, and sometimes at four or max four teams, that they will be the part of the World Cup. But I think that's where a lag comes in, a gap comes in, because Asia Cup is also following the same thing. Asia Cup is only allowing a few countries to be played, who few countries who plays cricket to actually jump in the Asia Cup and compete for the Asia Cup. It does not represent the entire Asia. Russia is a part of Asia. Mongolia is a part of Asia. Kazakhstan is a part of Asia.
That's another question.
And we will go into that separate thing, because wherever in these countries there will be cricket, it will be bunch of South Asians just playing for that particular country, as we have seen in UAE and Hong Kong. I haven't seen there is in the playing 11 that between India versus
USA team as well.
there are still some English names, but in Hong Kong, everybody, all the playing 11 players were actually Indians or Pakistanis or Sri Lankas, South Asians. There was not even a single Chinese name in there. In Hong Kong team in the playing 11, I don't remember which match I saw, but those 11 players were entirely South Asians.
So again, that brings to the point that it is good for the Asian countries to keep on doing this, but maybe the bigger teams send their B team, and that's where I want to bring up another thing, right? You remember in the past we used to have these tri-series nations, and that has completely gone because there is no scope in different countries schedule that is so packed. But if you think about it, if you take away the Asian Games, if you remove Asian Cups out of the situation, or maybe India and Pakistan playing two teams, and Sri Lanka maybe if Sri Lanka can conjure up, or Bangladesh if they can conjure up two teams, right? Both of these all of these nations are playing with teams like Hong Kong, UAE, and they are still getting a very good competition because they are still learning through that journey.
Yeah,
And when they grow as a nation, then maybe you revive Asia Cup back with bigger, better teams. But meanwhile, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka can participate in a tri-series, right? With let's say Australia or New Zealand, and there could be two tri-series happening at the same time, where you think about, right, what is going on right now. There is a match going on between England and South Africa. Like, include in India in that thing, and I would definitely watch it better than I would stay up at night and watch that match.
Absolutely. I'll start with that by one point you mentioned earlier, that about sports for education, sports for cricket, cricketing education. One thing that we have seen in the known or less cricket playing nations, is that they are made up of a bunch of Indians or Pakistanis or South Asians who have migrated to that particular country. Hong Kong is a good example for that. So maybe we need to actually start educating and bring cricket in their like some sort of like education within when they're actually working, when they're doing school. So there is some sort of infrastructure and education about cricket, so people are actually interested in playing cricket. Otherwise, it will just be a South Asian game, to be very honest. And moving on to the second point, uh, you mentioned about the Tri Series. That's actually a good concept, and it will definitely have traction in the countries that are playing the Tri Series, and it will bring economics as well. And I'm pretty sure the broadcasters will be very happy because eventually these will be the teams they have which are really good in playing as well, and at the same time they will be able to bring some massive crowd and revenue to it. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing as well. So
Yes.
I feel this is how these things should be handled, and I personally feel that the Asian Games and Asia Cup should be merged on.
Yeah. And there is another, and again, something new for the users, and we talk about opinions here, right? Eventually, there could be a concept where two tri series are happening at the same time, but at the later on, the winners of those two tri series can
I
play
love
together,
that. I love
and
that
that
concept.
would be
That's amazing.
absolutely watchable. I would watch that, and it goes back to the fact that it will automatically become something like Test World Championship.
And it's something similar to the like Champions League, which were like IPL, the winners of
And I
IPL, the
miss
winners of
that.
BBL.
I really
Yes,
miss that.
I
I
think
want that.
I think that's a good concept. The good that we have a bunch of leagues where the top two teams from that leagues will actually compete together.
and
In this,
and that goes to the promotion of Asian Games as well, because
exactly,
it is still happening. The teams are still learning from the bigger teams, and whereas the bigger teams are still generating revenues for the world to keep on distributing that wealth, and keep on growing the cricket as it is,
it becomes a big responsibility of the cricket boards like India,
to
and,
drive
and
that
a bit of
change.
Australia and England to to actually invest in a lot in the countries where cricket needs to be thriving,
Yep.
where they have the teams, but it's not the localites who are playing cricket, but it's just a bunch of immigrants playing it.
All right. There you go. Yeah, again, we gave you a new concept to ponder about. If this reaches to BCCI, that would be amazing. Maybe they can drive that change. Uh, have more tri series, and the winners of those tri series can compete with each other and become a new league in itself to for the
And maybe
nations,
revive the Champions League
and
where
maybe revive the
where
champion.
the winners of IPL, BBL, SAT20, Sri Lanka Cricket League, and even if the things go right between India and Pakistan and PSL as well, they come together and they compete.
That would be a good topic for a podcast altogether. In my mind, there's a lot of content there to to talk about that. So, all right, with that, we will close this one off. We will see you for the third one next time.